your family ready for a vacation? Imagine really getting away from it all by falling into a comic book. Swimming in a man-made sea full of sweet-faced flippers. Falling from a tower twice as tall as the Statue of Liberty. Taking a ride into the unknown. Or wading through swampland to discover some of America's most unusual creatures. Well, we've got a list that will please everyone. Next, the Travel Channel's world's best family vacation in Orlando. Orlando, in the heart of Central Florida. This natural swampland with high humidity and mosquitoes seems an unlikely spot for the #1 family destination on the planet. But years ago, dreamers imagined another possibility. They created a vacation paradise, giving new meaning to the phrase, if you build it, they will come. Every year, over 40 million tourists flock here. And the population has grown to accommodate the massive numbers that constantly descend upon the area. In the beginning of the 1970s, there were just over 500,000 people living here. 2 decades later, that number had more than doubled. And today, projected figures for as early as next year are well into the millions. What makes this place one of the world's best family destinations? There's something for everyone. It's no longer a one-attraction town. Once you've visited the Magic Kingdom, there's another kingdom just as magical called Orlando. It's 100 different getaways in one, with a mind-boggling galaxy of hotels, restaurants, and attractions that appeal to the entire family. And to pull in some of the $17 billion spent here every year, these attractions try really hard to please. And some have done it so well, they're really worth adding to your vacation agenda. Universal Orlando's Islands of Adventure. It took 5 years, over 1,000 people, and millions of dollars to create the best way to fall into the pages of a comic book. The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man.
With Doc Ock on the loose, this could be the most dangerous night of my life. And yours.
We travel with Spider-Man through the streets of New York to solve a crime and to meet up with all the bad supervillains, and we become the heroes at the end of the day.
The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man is a 3D audio-visual fantasy that really moves. The Big Apple has been recreated inside a half-acre warehouse, and guests sweep through inside futuristic cars that seat 12.
These vehicles, as you can see, they spin, they jump, they make you really feel the action of what it's like to be in a comic book. That allows us to do some very cool things that make the Spider-Man attraction work. We can point the vehicle exactly where we want you to be looking.
Time to blow you off the street!
We can move the vehicle quickly so that we can get you to look from something to something else very quickly.
And even if they're not the midlife crisis cars dads dream about, they sure cost more. Each one is worth almost as much as 3 Ferraris. And the sound system, definitely state-of-the-art.
Each vehicle has a proprietary, custom-made 16-channel digital audio system that feeds 24 speakers inside the car. So you really get a really intense audio sensation along with the ride.
By now, we've probably captured Dad's attention. But what about the rest of the family? Well, you don't make the Travel Channel's best list if there's not a lot more going on than a big blue car. This ride's got action.
We We go through over a dozen scenes in this attraction. We go through warehouses. We go through nighttime New York. We go down underneath the city in the sewers. We fly through the skyscrapers at 400 feet in the air. We go plummeting. We go climbing. We go careening. We go spinning. It's a great adventure.
Here, bigger is definitely better. And to create edgy cartoon action meant combining moving vehicles with all kinds of special effects and 3D film on massive movie screens, a first in theme park history.
Each frame of film is about 4 times the size of the frame of film you see at your neighborhood Cineplex. That means that it's brighter, it's clearer, and it's got much more depth and resolution than a regular motion picture image.
And the 3D images are one of the main reasons why this ride makes the Travel Channel's list. They really help give the family an up-close and personal view of this beloved super action hero.
Be careful.
And nice shades.
It should all appear like a big magic trick. And you should forget all about the technology, and all you care about is that you're having a comic book adventure with Spider-Man.
When the ride ends 4.5 short minutes later, you may want to get back outside for some fresh air. And after paying over $100 for a family of 4, it's lucky for you that you can find another one of Orlando's bests just a short walk away. But here's a suggestion. Go on an empty stomach. This is the Incredible Hulk roller coaster, a 2-minute, 15-second, fast-spinning, hair-raising, eye-popping extravaganza. It's definitely one of the world's best. Here's what happens. You get on a 150-foot-long glow-in-the-dark tube, strap into your seat, ride up through a tunnel, then explode to 40 miles an hour in just 2 seconds, all in homage to a comic book character who turned into a big green monster.
We got on, we blasted off through the chute, and then we were upside down, and then we were upside down again, and it was a great ride.
We wanted to create the sudden energy release the Hulk feels every time Dr. Banner turns into the Incredible Hulk. We wanted to do that through the launch of the roller coaster.
To launch this 32,000 pounds of steel into the air takes a lot of power. And it seems there's no energy shortage in Central Florida. With the power it takes to get this thing moving, you could light up thousands of homes. And once you're launched, you roll. Mind you, this is no ordinary roll. This is an F-16 jet fighter dive roll, or what the military refers to as the zero-G roll.
It's an adrenaline rush. You put your heart through the center of a roll, and your body feels weightless for a few moments of a second. It's just an incredible rush.
This spiral of steel creates a sense of danger, but don't let that fool you. This is one finely tuned machine designed to perform perfectly every time. This is Ground Zero, the Hulk's nerve center, motor control.
Picture being able to line up 220 race cars, have them all take off at exactly the same time, and have them all finish at exactly the same time. We want to make sure the launch of every Hulk train is consistent speed and quality, so our guest has the same experience every time they ride it.
I think this was the best one I've ever been on.
Yeah, definitely.
But in Orlando, there's always more ways to make your family vacation the world's best. When we return, we'll take a dip with dolphins. Then we get as close as you'd ever want to get to Orlando's resident reptiles. Orlando has been the theme park headquarters of the world since the early 1970s, when Walt Disney moved his famous mouse from California to Florida. The mouse was like an unofficial Pied Piper. He led the way, and soon others followed. The reason was simple. You ever hear the joke about buying Florida swampland? Well, this is it. Here, land was cheap, and the climate ideal. The average temperature is 72 degrees. It's perfect theme park weather. But sometimes it gets downright hot. The coastline is well over 50 miles away, and what's a vacation without a beach? In Orlando, that's not a problem. Enter another man-made world, SeaWorld, the landlocked ocean adventure. They make the Travel Channel's list with their new attraction, Discovery Cove, one of the best ways to live out a Jacques Cousteau dream.
It started off actually with what some of our guests at SeaWorld have told us, and that they wanted to really get a lot closer to all of the animals here at SeaWorld. They actually wanted to get into that environment with them.
And in the true spirit of hoping that the customer knows best and will pay top dollar for what they want, they built an interactive tropical island. It's the Caribbean coast, the Great Barrier Reef, and the South Pacific all rolled into one. There's a white sand beach, a coral reef, thousands of colorful fish, a rainbow of birds, and a sea full of dolphins.
You can swim with dolphins in other parts of the world, and you can swim with tropical fish, and maybe you'll have good weather, and maybe you won't get seasick. This is a guaranteed experience, and it's safe.
It almost feels like you're flying when you're riding with them. You can't even feel anything because you're not even doing any work. You're just going straight through. I would just describe it as just an amazing experience, just thrilling, and there's surprises at every turn. They're really fun and energetic, and they're really hyper, and they do all kinds of stuff when they do their jumps and their flips and everything like that. It's really cool.
One of the things that really makes swimming with dolphins possible are some of the incredible trainers that we have on staff, like Karen Atlee, who has worked for so long with this particular dolphin, Astor. The two of them literally have grown up at SeaWorld together. And it's because of that one-on-one relationship that we're able to allow guests in the water one-on-one with an animal like a dolphin.
Trainer Karen Atlee was at one time more at home handling a bottleneck beer than a bottlenose dolphin. In 1985, she was a New York bartender. She vacationed in Orlando and fell in love with the animals at SeaWorld. Soon, she traded the Big Apple for the catch of the day. 15 years later, she's still enchanted, but knows it's a hard day's work.
It's not as glamorous as it looks. You're making up fish buckets, you're keeping the area clean, keeping up with the animals and their needs.
Part of the challenge of working with dolphins is being in tune with America's favorite fish. Stars like Flipper just don't happen. They're created.
Teaching them a new behavior is always great for us and for the animal. It's taking a behavior from the beginning. They don't know what you mean, so you have to actually work by moving their body around, touching different body parts, letting them know what you mean because they can't hear us. We go at a very slow pace or at the pace of the animal. They all have different learning capacity. Some will learn a behavior quicker than another. So if you know that this animal is a really slow learner, you don't want to push a behavior really quick on them. They'll get frustrated and it becomes negative. And we don't want that at all. So we just teach them in very small, positive steps. When they do something that we ask, we let them know by feeding them, by throwing them that basketball, by jumping in the water, rubbing them down, doing all the things that we know that particular animal really, really enjoys. And that's how we communicate to them. Now, if they do something incorrect, we just ignore it for 3 seconds and we move on.
To teach these dolphins takes time, from 2 weeks to 1 year for a single behavior. And by the time the dolphins move to Discovery Cove, they're ready to follow directions not just from their trainers, but from anyone who's allowed to swim with them.
Some of them have a repertoire of probably 300 different behaviors. So that it goes from a peg shake, which is really simple, to a forward flip, vertical spins, back flips. It thrills me every day, every moment that I am in the water with these animals. I just consider myself very lucky to be doing what I'm doing here.
So if you love these underwater creatures too, you may want to add this attraction to your family's Orlando vacation itinerary. We realize at $179 per person it's a little pricey, but it includes a lot. You get 90 minutes with the dolphins, a day at Discovery Cove, an unlimited week-long pass to SeaWorld, and one of the best ways to turn an aquatic dream into a reality. And if your family isn't interested in sweet-faced mammals or crystal-clear water, take them to the real Orlando, where lazy reptiles are known to put on a good show. This is Gatorland. The Travel Channel's vote for the best twisted theme park. And for families used to scripted, prepackaged entertainment, at around $40 for 4, this roadside attraction is a killer draw. These creatures don't explode, blast off, or save the universe like the countless animated aliens at the other Orlando theme parks. These sleepy reptiles aren't made of plastic or silicone. What they have is different. They're real. Very real. And so is their appetite for raw meat.
Be quick, be quick, be quick.
In 1949, Owen Godwin, founder of Gatorland, had a dream. Where others saw 16 acres of worthless swamp, he saw gold. Soon, he'd turn the swamp full of sleepy reptiles into the world's most low-tech theme park.
You see how they just sit out here like logs, and we'll throw a piece of meat out there onto the water. They just explode. Don't bite that, that's vegetable.
Tim Williams, better known as the Dean of Gator Wrestling, has been a heavyweight at Gatorland for over 10 years.
There you go.
He has a passion for reptiles, and like in all great romances,
He's a good boy.
It was love at first sight.
When I was about 12 years old, I have a very good memory of seeing my first alligator in the wild, a little 3-footer, and I thought that was just the coolest thing. And now that I've had an opportunity to work with these things all these years, you learn real quick that they're much more than just a big, scaly reptile. Come on, man, get your head up, get your head up.
Tim knows each of the gator's quirks, from the flare of their snout to the twinkle in their eye.
This is one of my favorite gators coming up right over here. Call him Pop. He's a great guy. Come on, buddy. Come on, Pop. He'll answer to his name. Come on, Pop. He's a good-looking alligator. If you love alligators, he's a good-looking alligator. I mean, don't you think he's handsome?
Though these gators might give Tim a warm, fuzzy feeling, he doesn't trust them as far as he can throw them. And at 600 pounds, that's not very far.
I don't like turning my backs on them because they know that they could sneak up on me, and that's something they do in order to catch food. So we're not immune from anything. These are not tamed animals.
Unlike other theme parks where all your guide needs is a big smile and a cute patter, here every trainer has to pass an intensive 90-day program that includes gator psychology and behavior. Each day on the job is a final exam in gator behavior. A slight shift in breathing signals trouble. A muscle twitch, a quick clench of the jaw, or a sharp twist of the body could mean the reptile is about to strike.
This alligator right here, if he were to run up here and grab me, grab my arm or what have you, there's no way to get him off. There's just absolutely no way. I would be at his mercy. And if he decided to drag me down there with the other ones, then it wouldn't take long before I would become very small.
Here, the mere sight of food is enough to make them go ballistic. And at Gatorland, they've turned a natural response into a feeding show with a twist. The Gator Jumperoo.
Gators, wake up, boys!
In the wild, a gator might live for 2 months on just one meal. But here it's one big year-round buffet.
They have to actually work to get their food. And some of these alligators can jump pretty high up out of the water, 5, 6, 7, 8 feet out of the water.
The gators cruise around until they spot the day's blue plate special. Plucked chicken on a string.
All right, what's going on?
Using their tails like springs, they hurtle towards their target. And believe it or not, most of the meals are fed by hand.
All right, guys. Oh, good.
Sometimes they'll jump a little bit higher than expected, and my hand is where the alligator's mouth is as I pull out.
You ready, big guy?
Like at any other theme park, the longest line forms for the most popular show. And Gatorland is no exception. The hot ticket? Gator Wrestling.
All right. It's called the Gator wrestling show because we are trying to keep this animal still and show the audience all about alligators. It's a really neat experience for the audience as well as the wrestler himself.
When Brett says wrestle, don't think WWF. This isn't just an act, because gators can't be taught to perform. With a brain the size of a lima bean, there's not a whole lot of room to absorb training. So all the wrestler can do is stimulate the gator's natural responses and keep us cool.
I'll tell you what, I think I'm trusting this big boy out here today, Ryan.
Unlike attractions at other theme parks, here the grand finale is totally unpredictable. The only ones who know the script are the gators. And if the handler doesn't figure it out fast, the audience won't be the only ones giving the gator a hand.
Okay, let's take a quick look at
You all right?
yeah, I'm all right.
After spending a few hours with the best irritable prehistoric reptiles, you're ready to rejoin the 21st century and get the heart rate pounding. To make your family vacation in Orlando one of the world's best, try making time for an adrenaline fix. After a few days in Orlando, on even the most perfect family vacation, the kids are probably getting a little cranky, and you can't watch another cartoon character have all the fun. You can always pop the family in the rental car and start driving down the city streets. You'll begin to notice there's something for everyone, everywhere you look. And where you can't stand the kids whining for one more minute, just pull over. They can scream their lungs out from 300 feet away. This is Sky Coaster, where you free fall from a tower twice as tall as the Statue of Liberty.
This is the tallest sky coaster in the entire world, 300 feet high, 30 stories.
The idea is brutally simple. Pony up the cash, strap into a modified skydiving harness, move into liftoff position,
All right, here's it.
We're gonna fall away.
and let it rip.
Whoa!
Hi,
guys.
Dangling like bait from a giant fishing pole, you're reeled to the top.
All right, guys, you're starting from a height of 13 feet up. As you get above tree level, take a look to your right. You're going to see two green neon towers with a little revolving searchlight. That's right around the area of Universal Studios, Florida.
Have fun.
Altitude 200 feet. By now you're reminding yourself that all parts are double-checked every day, that the cables can hold 9,000 pounds. But even that doesn't put your mind at ease, because now there's no turning back. You've been hoisted up 300 feet. If you're lucky, you're too dizzy to be afraid. And now the best part of the ride is right below you.
Okay, fly. 3, 2, 1, fly.
In just 5 seconds, these high-velocity tourists reach their maximum speed, over 70 miles per hour. The ride lasts 3.5 minutes and costs $37, but as you soar out over Orlando, you'll feel like a superhero swooping over Gotham City. Your feet are back on solid ground, but your stomach is still missing somewhere over Orlando.
It's truly a feeling that's too exciting.
It's really hard to describe.
I had done the bungee jump over here, but I think this is a much better ride.
My legs are shaking back and forth.
The scariest part when you're going up, when you look how far you're going to go, and all your weight's on those harnesses, it's scary.
Once-in-a-lifetime thing. You got to try it. It's hard to describe to do it.
It is an exciting
Videotape will give the evidence.
All right, it's plugging in 69 miles an hour. How do you feel?
If falling really isn't your thing, you may want to fly instead. In Orlando, you'll find one of the best places outside of the space shuttle to defy the laws of gravity. It's called Skyventure, a vertical tunnel where 5 fans whip up 120-mile-per-hour winds. It's like being blown around by the force of a level 3 hurricane. But it'll cost you a 3-minute hover, $35. And people from all over the world line up to pay.
I think this flying in the tunnel is almost the same than flying in free fall. And I think this that's why it's so much fun. Most of the people, I think, have a dream to fly around. And for us to get well trained and maybe to get so good that we can reach a medal or something like that. So for us, it means a little bit more.
Another roadside attraction puts you right in the spotlight. This is Adrenaline Heights, and we put it on the Travel Channel's list for a reason. Here, you have a chance to really get into the action. For a couple of hours, you can run away with the circus, or you can climb Mount Everest. Well, sort of. The extreme sports here have only two rules. Don't look down, and don't let go. This attraction was the brainchild of a sports fanatic with a dangerous imagination and a need to live on the edge.
I thought of doing Adrenaline Heights because I'm a rock climber, and I've been all over the country and taken lots of people climbing, and I saw that it really challenged people, and I wanted to do something for the public as opposed to for the rock climbing community.
You're doing great, Patrick.
Because the climbers, there are hundreds and hundreds of gyms, but there's really nothing geared towards non-climbers.
All right. Good job.
And then I tried the trapeze, and I figured, okay, this is another extreme sport, involves altitude, adrenaline, fits right in.
A lot of people go to circuses and they watch the people flying through the air and they want to do it, you know, it's just amazing, and that's part of the amazement of it is because nobody does it, you know, it's just one of those really rare things.
It feels like you're flying almost, and it's, you know, a little bit of fear, and it's great. That awesome feeling.
Kick back, front, hard, front, back, hard.
We call it where you can experience extreme sports with expert coaching. We have mechanical backups for people. We have the people backups for mechanical. The trapeze has a double safety line plus a net. The ropes that we use in the climbing will hold a car. They're rated for 4,400 pounds of force. Most of my people are either professional trapeze artists or professional stunt people, and very, very safety conscious.
Most vacations are usually about the kids, but mom and dad should have some fun too. So here's an idea. Dad can take the kids water skiing while mom can get the best workout of her life. At the Orlando Water Sports Complex, she'll find what's known as the obstacle course. But it's really more like a military boot camp. And the woman who puts you through the paces is no drill sergeant. She's the world champion. Her name is Lori Ann Lloyd, and for $50 an hour, she'll share her techniques and whip mom into shape.
I don't train everyone the same way. If someone has a better talent to climb the wall with their upper body, I'll train them that way.
Good. Reach high, reach high. Throw the leg over, head first.
Each person I train to be a champion.
Lori became a champion the hard way.
Good job.
The monkey bars are really, really good for your delts. They give you a nice little curve.
Running the obstacle course was Lori's lifeline. In 1984, she broke her back diving. Then in 1992, she shattered her face water skiing.
And this obstacle course really helped me out of those depressions from my injuries. And in practicing, I didn't come out just to compete. I came out to help myself feel better. Just, you know, came out one weekend and a man said, you know, I bet you'd be really good on that obstacle course they have over there. And so I went on the course, and it was like I'd done it before.
Within a year of starting to run the obstacle course, Lori was one of the best. That's her in the pink. A year later, she was the champion, setting the world record for the fastest time, and no one's broken it since. Every mom will like this. According to Lori, each woman has her own obstacle course to run.
You know, you really bring out the talents you have through injuries and adversities, and then you become a better person. So I'm really helping others to do that, drawing it out of them. Each woman here has something to draw out of her.
Today, she shares her training secrets with others who affectionately call this their confidence course.
One of the great things about it is that Lori starts you at your level, and she works with you, and she can help build your confidence so that any of these obstacles you can overcome.
Good, Laura. Nice.
It's very gratifying and thrilling. It's just undescribable.
Good, good.
So if your idea of the best family vacation is to break a sweat, you'll find a thrill or a spill in Orlando that will really get your heart rate going.
Good. Reach high, reach high.
Next, tired of forking out all that cash? We've got the best freebies in town. A duck parade, a supernatural ride, and a legendary sinkhole. After a few days on the world's best family vacation in Orlando, you've spent a lot more money than you ever expected. So it's delightful to find an event that's free. We've got 3. We begin at one of Orlando's 4-star hotels, the Peabody. Think of it this way. Spain has the best bull run, England the best dog show, and Orlando the best duck march. And even if you don't get it, remember, it's free.
Well, it's a tradition that was started at the original Peabody in Memphis when the owners came back from a hunting trip, and at that time they were allowed to use live duck decoys to go hunting with. And the owners didn't shoot anything, and they had a little bit too much Tennessee whiskey, and they decided to put the ducks in the fountain in the lobby. And ever since then, it's been a tradition, and everyone loves it.
The Florida mallards begin lounging around the lobby fountain at 11 o'clock in the morning. Then, at the stroke of 5, a red carpet is rolled out. The ducks get ready. The hotel guests begin to line the walkway. The ducks stand poised. The music begins with all the pomp and circumstance a player piano can muster, and the ducks begin to walk the walk familiar only to royalty. As they make their way through the hotel, they are greeted by their public and carefully guided by their bodyguard, the duck master. Clearly they are a proud species, and they waddle the waddle of those who are well trained.
This team has only been here for about a month or so. They usually stay here for about 2 to 3 months at a time, and then we have a farm locally where we release them back to the farm. We rotate them out so they get a chance to breed and be ducks and do what ducks normally do.
The mallards end their short march at the Duck Palace, the hotel's most exclusive suite. A $100,000 custom-built room made of marble and glass built just for them. It's sort of a duck getaway, where the little mallards rest their webbed feet for the night. Then, by the following morning, they're ready to parade again.
The guests love the ducks. They could be having the worst day in the world, and they see the ducks, and they just start smiling and laughing. It kind of catches them off guard.
And remember, twice a day, you can see this for free. And speaking of free, before reaching back in your pocket for some more money, take a quick but quirky trip over to Lake Wales for the Travel Channel's pick for the best supernatural spin on a world-renowned ride. This is Spook Hill, and here's how it works. You've got your family in the car. Drive up to the white line, turn off the engine, put the car in neutral, hold your breath, throw your arms in the air, and then wait. Suddenly it happens, and it's very, very weird. With no help from you, your car slowly creeps backwards up the hill. No one knows why this happens, but for over 200 years it's been one of the most mysterious spots in Central Florida.
People come to see Spook Hill from all over the country. In fact, they come from all over the world. We've had people here from Sweden. They've been here from Germany. They've been here from Japan. So it's an international thing.
According to legend, the hill is haunted, and like all good Florida folklore, all roads lead back to alligators. Around here, they say a Native American had a run-in with a reptile, so now your car rolls backwards. In another likely story, pirates long dead are trying to divert you from their buried treasure. Maybe. And according to geologists, it has more to do with magnets than magic, thanks to an asteroid, but no magnetic deposits have ever been detected in the area.
Okay. It's going uphill at a 10-degree angle that way. Would you believe that?
But when you're on vacation, all that really matters is you bring back a good story to tell.
Well, how do you explain it then?
Spook Hill.
Spook Hill. I'll go along with that.
It's kind of weird. It is. You don't have to do nothing. It takes off backward right by itself, you know. It's really strange.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to drive it, though, because when you're sitting in the back seat, you can't tell. That's neat.
Could it be magic?
I have done it many, many times myself, personally. And I will turn around and I will swear that I'm going uphill backwards. How you explain it, I don't know. You know, I'm not going to argue with it.
I don't know. Got a magnet somewhere in the road.
As far as hazarding a guess as to what it is, I'm just going to leave that alone. We have a lot of fun with it, so let's let the people decide what they want to decide.
Well, I definitely think it's an optical illusion. Yeah. But then I could be wrong.
Once you've taken the family into the unknown, bring them back to a historical landmark. After all, what's a vacation without a little history? This pretty little pond doesn't look like much, but 20 years ago, this place was front page news. It's affectionately known as the sinkhole that ate Florida. Here's what happened. During an Orlando dry spell, the water level dropped. It seeped through the limestone underground, and then the clay and soil went with it. Everything on top fell in, like trees, homes, an auto repair shop, and a 4-lane highway. Within 24 hours, the sinkhole was 350 feet wide and 125 feet deep. And a corner of Orlando was redesigned. Now, how's that for free? When we return, we take you to Orlando's original attraction, Silver Springs. We promise you'll never forget the unusual natives. You can't go all the way to Orlando on the world's best family vacation without making a stop at Silver Springs. This is where it all began. It's Central Florida's original theme park, and it holds the best hidden adventure.
All right, folks, you may have been to Disney World and you may have been to SeaWorld, but welcome to the real world. This is the world-famous Silver River.
The Silver River is created by the Silver Springs. Every day, 600 million gallons pour in and get filtered by the limestone underground. By the time it bubbles back up, the water is 99.96% pure. So clear that the glass-bottom boat was invented right here a century ago. You can still see the spectacular underwater view. But today, the creatures lurking along the banks are as big a draw. It's a walk on the wild side. For a more personal tour, you may want to step on board Captain Tom's motorboat.
We're glad to see you. Welcome aboard. We're going to have a wonderful trip. We're going to see all kinds of wildlife, and we're going to see the most beautiful waterway left in America. It's not just a tour business. It can be picnicking or sightseeing or nature study or history or whatever the client is really interested in. We're just basically a service business that's ready to work.
After 17 years of manning his tiny boat for tours that last 3 to 8 hours long, Captain Tom still remembers where the ride began.
When I was 3 years old, my family came from Pennsylvania to Florida, and instead of being in the back seat going, are we there yet, all the way from Pittsburgh, I was going, I want to see the water. I want to see the water.
4 decades later, Captain Tom not only sees the water, he makes a living off really knowing it.
Here we got a couple of limpkins, these brown and white birds right here. They were almost extinct at the turn of the century. The pioneers ate that bird extensively. It was a lot farther between grocery stores in those days, and a limpkin was easier to get than a chicken. That turtle there with the orange belly is called the Florida slider. We get them with yellow bellies, it's called the cooter. We get them with orange-red bellies that are called the painted turtle, and the painted turtles and the cooters get together when the turtle police ain't looking, and that's where you get the sliders. That ain't fishing, that's catching. There's a big difference. This is a green brim. He's a member of the sunfish family, like a bluegill, only he never turns blue, he stays green. I'll put him back in the water now. Your mama. All right, now, as you look down there, you see all these different members of the sunfish family. And I like them so much, I wrote a song about them. Give me a largemouth bass, but make it fast. The channel catfish would do. Give me a red belly stump, knocker, shell, cracker, bluegill. Give me a brim or two. Now I like fishes, you know they're delicious. The big ones, the little ones too. Give me a red belly stump, knocker, shell, cracker, bluegill. Give me a brim or two. Thank you. Oh, yeah, well, don't give up the day job, you know.
So, maybe Captain Tom has spent a little too much time on this river, but it's his experience that has turned an otherwise ordinary boat trip into an e-ticket ride.
You can take any part of this river and stop and start to investigate it, and the whole thing just starts to open up for you. It's not so much where you are, but how much time you take to investigate the spot that you just decide on.
The Silver River's biggest surprise is literally something right out of a Hollywood movie. These are the rhesus monkeys, and they live right here. This is the only place in the United States where monkeys can be seen in the wild. But this was not their natural habitat. One story has it that an ambitious boat captain brought them here to liven up his tour route. But the more likely story dates back to the early 1900s, when Hollywood filmmakers actually used it as a location for several movies. The Silver River was the home for The Creature from the Black Lagoon. And the forest was the backdrop for 6 of the original Tarzan movies.
The generally accepted story is that they were backdrop animals acquired by one of the early boat captains when working with the Tarzan films. Back in the 1930s, he got a couple of pairs of monkeys, and the monkeys escaped from there and do what monkeys do, and now we have at least 3 or 4 troops of 30 to 50 individuals, and the monkeys have been sighted at times quite a few miles from this immediate area.
The monkeys make the most of being born free. They frolic, swing, eat, drink, and love within the woods and along the water's edge. They're frequently in plain view, but often camouflaged by the forest. But when drifting down the river, you'll feel their eyes upon you. And when you finally spot one, look left or right, you're probably surrounded.
One of the things that I've really noticed the last couple of years is as we tour up and down the river and look at the wildlife, every bit of wildlife that you see is looking at you as well.
And when the ride comes to an end, you'll realize Orlando's natural environment was the first Magic Kingdom. So there you have it, Orlando, Florida. And if all this seems just a little too good to be true, go back to this list. You'll see there's something for everyone. There's the best major theme parks, the best aquatic thrills, the best twisted attractions, the best way to get your heart going. Travel Channel's world's best family vacation in Orlando, Florida.
Ladies and gentlemen, get your appetites ready. South Carolinians love to brag about their many great restaurants. But today here in Camden, only one hard-working chef will earn supreme bragging rights. At the Ultimate Chef's Challenge, top chefs prepare their favorite dishes for the judges. But it's the spectators who win. We get to sample all the delicious food and wine. I'm Tracy Gallagher for the Travel Channel, and for more great food and wine destinations, click on Travel Channel at discovery.com. Cheers.